Hello friends, my name is Habib. Today we're going to learn how to make rectangle generator in HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Before you watch this video, make sure you have a basic knowledge of both HTML, CSS and JavaScript. If you want to learn these languages, then make sure you have watched my intro to HTML, CSS and JavaScript videos. First, open up Code, VS Code, open folder, go to Documents, create new folder, name it Rectangle Generator. Create. Wait, I don't want to create a new folder, I just want to open this current folder. I'm going to create a new index.html. Now, I am going to do all of the code inside of the HTML file, because did you know that you can do the HTML, CSS and JavaScript inside one HTML file. Let me change the color scheme. Anyways, I'm going to write HTML5. Then I'm going to create a script where all our JavaScript code will go. And then I'm going to create a style where all our CSS code will go. And then I'm going to create a div. No, not a div. And give it an ID of gen. And then on top of the div, I'm going to create a button and give it an ID. Wait, no, not an ID, and just give it a text of gener. On click equals gen. So what this does is that when this button is clicked, it's going to run this gen function, which currently doesn't exist. So if I reload it, save it, nothing happens because we have to copy this path of the HTML file, paste it into our browser. If I click on this, nothing happens since the generate function doesn't exist yet. And the CSS style we're going to use here, the style is going to be only for the button. Since the button looks pretty defaulty, boring and basic. So I'm going to give it a background color of cornflower blue. Make this lighter. Give this a border of 2px with the 3.5 px solid cornflower blue. But I'm just going to make this darker by dragging this down. Or I can just write the RGB values manually. And then I'm going to give it a border radius of 20 pixels. And lastly, a padding of 30 pixels. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But I forgot to change the font size, make it more bulgier and stronger and less genre. If you click on it, nothing happens. If you open up the console, you see that it's just, when we click on it, it's just going to be generating errors. Because the function called gen absolutely doesn't exist yet. And if you're doing everything in the HTML, make sure that you put the style at the top before all of your elements, and make sure that you put the script, the JavaScript code, after all of your elements, or else it won't work, because, well, yeah, it's not possible, because it's basically going to load the script. If you put the script before the elements, it's going to load the script before the elements are actually loaded, because code is read from top to bottom. Enough explaining that. I'm going to get the ID of the div. Document.getElement by ID div. Gen. Then I'm going to create a function called gen function gen. This function basically is going to be generating rectangles of random border radius, width and height, and random color. Rect is equal to documents.create element rect, which basically create element, not create whatever that was. Div, which is basically going to create a div element, and then it's going to set the rect.style.width, basically sets the rect width to $WPX. I'm going to set it to a variable because I want the width and height of the rectangle to be the same. And if I set the rectangle's values individually, then the width and height wouldn't be the same and it wouldn't look good. PX. And then I'm going to create a variable called W, which is mass.random. Mass.random creates a random value between 0 and 1. The only bad thing about mass.random is that if the values are not 0 or 1, then the values are basically going to be decimal values. But we don't care about decimals. I'm going to multiply it by 100 so that it will generate a random value between 0 and 100 and anything in between. So now, if we reload this, you'll see that nothing happens. That is because we have to define, get this out of here. That's because we have to define the color for the rectangle by writing rect.style.color. It's equal to RGB. RGB means red, green, blue. RGB takes 3 values, the first one being red, green, and blue. Now the 3 values you put in this RGB are going to be mixed together to form the color that you want. Now, these 3 values, they can be either from 0 to 255. So I'm going to set this to mass.random times 255. So now, you might be wondering why I'm not putting it in a variable. But that's because if I put these, because this thing is basically going to be the same for all of them. It's going to be the same for all of them. Well, if I put it in a variable, then the red, green, and blue are going to have the same values, and I don't want that. So now, if I reload it, you'll see that when we click it, it still doesn't do anything. That is because we have to actually add the rect to the div, to this div, inside of the div. It's div.append child. And then I'm going to write rect. Oh, and also rect is short for rectangle. And it doesn't do anything. So, anyways, that is the reason why it doesn't do anything is because I am setting the color of it. I need to set the background color. Reload. Now you see it's creating different rectangles of random sizes. But I also want their border radiuses to be random. Border radius basically means roundness. I want their roundness to be random. So I'm going to set rect.style.border radius. And to set it to $. Mass.random. I want the border radius to be anywhere between 0 and 100. Mass.random times 100 px. Now, if you reload this, you'll see that it creates rectangles of random roundness and random sizes and random colors. Anyways, that is it for today's video. Hope you really enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel ObaCode. Bye.